Hey folks, so today I want to talk to you about something that's really important and something that I feel is holding a lot of people back from achieving the physiques they want, the strength they want, and just the lives they want. And I'm afraid it's not an easy topic to get across because typically the information you're given from health magazines, even from the government, is just wrong. It's just wrong, okay? So most of us are told that if you want to get healthy, if you want to lose weight, that you should go on some kind of low-fat diet. I'm here to tell you that that is bullshit. It is absolutely bullshit. Number one, because when you go on a low-fat diet and you try to look for low-fat products, typically anything that's had the fat removed has to get stuff in there somewhere. So what do they pump it full of? Sugar and chemicals. So that's just a point to begin with. But what I'm here to do is give you a rational, logical argument. It's going to take no more than 3 or 4 minutes to explain to you why fats are not your enemy and why that eating fats can actually help you lose fat, okay? So that's the most important thing I want you to bear in mind. So what I've got my book up here. As you know, I love to refer to Paul Chek. I'm not an affiliate, I don't get any money, but if you want to learn more about this stuff, buy his book. He really does take really great care of their sort of holistic eating kind of stuff, and there's a lot of lessons you can learn there. But the point we're trying to make, the point he's trying to make in this book is, where do we get to? Yeah, so he's looking at saturated fats and the rise over time. So, I mean, we're all aware today that heart disease and sort of heart issues are one of the biggest killers in the UK, in Europe, in the States. I know it's probably getting that way in a lot of Western countries at the minute. So what have we got? Yeah, today in the US, 40% of all deaths are caused by heart disease. It's quite it's a terrifying statistic. But if we look back a little bit, who was the chap that invented it? He's talked about him in here. It was a German scientist, Paul Dudley White, invented the electrocardiograph, or the ECG that we have to, to have a look at our hearts essentially nowadays. And when he invented it, his colleagues actually told him that there wasn't a market for it because so few people had blocked arteries that it wasn't a useful invention when he invented that, and that was sort of around 1920 when he invented this. And people thought it wasn't a market, and yet today, 40% of all deaths, that's all deaths in the United States, are caused by exactly the issue that he pointed out. So I find that phenomenal. But the point that I'm trying to make here, I guess at the point that Chek's trying to make as well, is... Yeah, where are we? So 1910 to 1970, we've seen this huge increase in death by coronary heart issues, by arterial issues. So if fat is really an issue, if fat is causing that, then what we'd expect to see is that our intake of saturated fats must have gone up. So, if fat causes death, and deaths have gone up, and arterial deaths have gone up, then our consumption of fats must have gone up, right? That's basic common sense logic right there. But they haven't. In fact, he's got the specific stats here. The consumption of traditional animal fat and saturated fats in your typical American diet has declined. Proportion of traditional animal fat in the diet from 83% to 62%. Butter consumption is down from 18 pounds per person to only 4 pounds per person. Dietary cholesterol has increased only 1%. So basically, the amount of fats that we eat haven't gone up. The amount of fats that we eat have gone down quite considerably, or at least the amount of saturated fats that we eat. That's probably the key distinction here. So we're told that saturated fats are the issue, that they're the thing that's killing us. But what we've actually seen is that over the last 50 years, fats have gone down. So if I draw this is arterial disease and deaths. They're on the way up. But our use of fats, of saturated fats anyway, have gone down. That goes completely against the face of everything that our health service is telling us, right? Everything these health magazines are telling us, it doesn't seem to make sense. But what has happened across that period, okay? This is what I ask you to think about. From 1910, so across that same period, okay? So you look in 1910 to 1970, let's look at what has gone up. The use of vegetable oils, margarine, shortening, refined oils, hydrogenated oils, the ones where they've sort of added hydrogen ions to them, they've increased by 400%, okay? So saturated fat's gone down a lot. These artificially created fats gone up 400%. And the consumption of sugar and processed foods have gone up 60%. So now, ask you to examine that relationship. Arterial disease going up, sugar and the fats going up as well. So sugar and artificial fats go up, heart disease and deaths go up. What does that tell you? It tells you that saturated fats aren't the enemy because there's no correlation. It's just a false, it's an absolute myth. But when you increase sugar, when you increase artificial fats and hydrogenated fats, death go up. There is a positive correlation between those two things. So what we can learn from this is that saturated fats aren't the enemy. In fact, they can actually help us in our diet. So if you eat stuff like avocados, fish oils that I've put another video on, I'll put a link somewhere. I recommend all that stuff, avocados, fish oils, meats. You can get some good oils from nuts, some good fats from nuts. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get healthy fats into your body. They'll help balance your hormonal system, they'll help improve your joint health, they'll help improve your nervous system function, your brain function, your memory. So the long and short of it is that fats can actually be good in our diets. And if you're still not convinced, then Paul Chek likes to also reference a guy called Weston A. Price, and he was a scientist that went and did studies of different tribes and different people around the world, looked at the way they lived, looked at the foods they ate, and looked at their incidence of disease. And what this guy actually found is that, look at these, I mean, we've got the study up here. So he looked at tribes. So we've looked at North American Indians, he's looked at Eskimos, and he goes on to list different tribes around the world that he's looked at. And they had diets, some of them as high as, with some of like sort of Eskimo populations, as high as 80% of their calories came from saturated animal fats, which we're told are bad. And yet their incidence of heart disease was pretty much non-existent. Equally, their incidence of depression was non-existent. Their incidence of memory issues was pretty much non-existent. So these guys had pretty as close to a clean bill of health as you can get, and they were eating huge amounts of saturated fats. So just another point to try and convince you that saturated fats aren't the enemy, that it's artificial fats and that it's sugars that are causing the issues we see in society today. Just some food for thought. If you like this video and you'd like to see a bit more, then please like it, subscribe below if you want some more information to come out each week, and I will chat to you guys next time. Remember, stay away from those artificial fats and from those sugars. Saturated fats won't hurt you.